Okay, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the launch event for the Neath Port Talbot Innovation Exchange, which is a new business forum for businesses in the manufacturing, engineering, digital and innovation sectors across Neath Port Talbot and the wider area. We're really delighted to be launching this forum today in partnership with Neath Port Talbot Council, and this forum is funded by the UK government through the Community Renewal Fund, and it's an initiative that colleagues within Neath Port Talbot Council have long envisioned, and I know many of you have been speaking to Adil Mohammed from Neath Port Talbot Council about this forum and ideas of how it could take shape. So we are absolutely delighted now to be in a position to bring you all together for what we hope will be a series of really useful interactive discussions over the next few months, which will be of benefit to your business and also of benefit to the local economy. My name's Dawn Lyle, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm running an organisation called For the Region, and I've got two of my colleagues in the room today, Helen, who many of you have been in touch with, and Zoe. Now, at For the Region, we are passionate about South West Wales, and we are on a mission to make change happen for the 4 counties of Neath Port Talbot, Swansea, Carmarthenshire and Pembrokeshire. And our mantra is that the future of our region is in all our hands. So why is that relevant? What we really feel passionate about is that it's the businesses and the people within the 4 counties of South West Wales who hold the future of our region in our hands, and we want much greater voice and greater role for businesses like yourselves to help shape the future of our region and to contribute positively towards the greater good. So we're passionate about the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, and the values and the goals of that act underlie all our work. And everything we do really is about creating opportunities and championing all the fantastic stuff that's happening across our region. And I think today we're going to be able to showcase a lot of those really amazing businesses that are located here in Neath Port Talbot, that are really cutting edge, really innovative, doing amazing things. And the thing is that many people across our region just don't realise the wealth of fantastic companies that we have here in the region. And the mission really is for us all to work together to strengthen our own businesses, to find opportunities for collaboration and partnership, and to attract more investment and more fantastic companies to locate here in Neath Port Talbot, and to capitalise on those big future opportunities and those emerging trends. Mainly to create jobs and flourishing local economies for the people who live in our 4 counties of South West Wales. You know, young people coming through the colleges and the universities in our region need to hear about the fantastic employment opportunities that are right here on our doorstep, because we know that South West Wales offers just fantastic quality of life benefits, and we need to really amplify and shout loudly about the employment opportunities and the business development opportunities that exist here as well. So you will have to work quite hard to find someone who's more of a positive and optimistic advocate for South West Wales than we are here For the Region, and we're absolutely delighted to be working in partnership with Neath Port Talbot Council to host this forum, to bring all of you guys together, and hopefully over the next few weeks and months to make sure this forum really addresses what you see as the key priorities and challenges, making sure that by bringing us all together, investing this time, and we're very grateful to you all for giving up your time today to come and be part of this conversation, that we can really make sure that it's of maximum real tangible benefit to your businesses and to the greater good of Neath Port Talbot and the wider region. So with that little introduction out of the way, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Adil, and I'm going to share his slides, and Adil from the council will share his perspective on what the forum is all about. So Adil, are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon all, and welcome to the launch event of the forum, and thank you all of you for taking the time out to come and attend the forum. We've had many conversations in the past about how we can look to sort of increase the profile not only of Neath Port Talbot in the area, but also to sort of increase the knowledge between companies. Dawn's mentioned there's lots of great companies in the area, innovating, doing some fantastic stuff. So this is the start of that conversation of trying to get that messaging out between all the different companies, so you're aware of all the different things that are going on in the area. This has come about from, as Dawn said, this is funded by the Community Renewal Fund. Many of you that I've had conversations with have said that, you know, the interest in terms of finding out what else is happening in the area, and the opportunity to speak with sort of other companies and network. Could you go on to the next slide, please, Dawn? So this is just an overview for the forum, really. So first, obviously, welcome everyone for attending. We really much appreciate your time. The funding that we've secured is from UK government, which is a Community Renewal Fund, and that's a suite of activity that we are doing. So one element of that is the forum, which is the launch event today. So we really do appreciate you attending. We've also got other funding, as other support that we're actually delivering as well, which is digital free support, and that's with Aspire to Be. I believe they're online with us as well. We've also got diagnostic support and free consultancy support, which is via Town Square. I believe Alison is also online with us today. The forum is very simple focus, really, to be honest. This forum is evolving, so we want you as the businesses there to help to shape the direction of the forum and bring forward sort of topics that would be of interest to you and key to you as a business and for the Neath Port Talbot area. It's an opportunity to bring ideas together and your suggestions to the forum as well, so we can perhaps sort of work together to shape this. As I said, we want this forum to be your forum, an opportunity for a platform for yourselves to see how we can shape and how we can take things forward. One of the key things we're hoping that will come out of this as well is the networking opportunities between the businesses in the area. Sharing of learning between the businesses as well, and that's on various different levels, whether it's looking at processes, manufacturing opportunities, or learning, you know, experiences, whether it's with funding as well, which sort of links on to my next point. We want to encourage collaboration opportunities, so companies looking together to collaborate on whether it's joint funding, joint bids, looking at wider funding, maybe at UK funding if appropriate. I've been speaking to a lot of the businesses here today that are already doing this, and that's fantastic to see. And we want to share those learning experiences to benefit others in our region. One of the key focuses for the forum is also to link the business to support your business to grow, to develop, whether it's around skills and funding and training and so on. We'll also, where relevant and appropriate, obviously, and we've also got linked to our funding. So we've got funding that will be launching in April, and other funding and support as well. We're also hoping that we'll be programming a series of following events, which will cover skills funding, opportunities in terms of R&DI support funding, and various other things as well. They've been programmed and mapped out, but we're also hoping to get feedback from yourselves via the diagnostic work, as well as this forum, for you to put forward what you'd be interested in. And there are a range of new developments that are coming forward. Some, maybe not all of you, have maybe seen some of the ABP vision document developments and the videos in terms of the port. There are other things. So we've managed to speak to those parties, and they've agreed to come and to the forum and to present. So there's a really interesting shaping of events and sessions potentially to follow up. But we also want you to contribute, to give us your ideas as well. But the key focus from Neath Port Talbot Council is that we're here to help. we're here to support, and we're here to facilitate, as best we can in terms of helping your business to take steps forward. So we got a lot on today with some fantastic speakers. So that's about it for me. But again, thank you for all of you taking the time out to come and attend today.
Thank you, Adil. Thanks for that introduction. As Adil has mentioned, we've got a lot to get through. We've got a good number of speakers from businesses in Neath Port Talbot introducing themselves and talking about what they're up to and challenges and opportunities from their perspectives. And I think we'll find that incredibly inspiring and informative to get that overview from a number of local firms. Before we do that, and just to start, as we mean to go on, we mean for this to be very much an interactive forum and holding space for discussions and conversations. So just for the next 5 or 10 minutes, I am going to throw you all into very small breakout rooms, and I'm going to ask you to have a very short conversation with just 2 or 3 other people in answer to this question, which is, what feels most important to you that this forum should address? Why are you here? And what are the key things that feel really important to you that you think are the greatest opportunities that this forum could seek to address? So it's a purpose question. It's asking really why we're here, why this feels important, what matters to you. You won't have time in these breakout rooms for introductions really, so I discourage you from introducing yourselves. It will literally be a couple of minutes each just to explain why you're here and what feels important to you. So you'll have 2 or 3 other people in your breakout room, and I'm going to give you literally 8 minutes. You should see a breakout room invitation pop up on your screen. So please do hop into those breakout rooms and have a quick conversation about why you're here and what feels important to you. And I'll see you in 8 minutes time. Thanks for playing along with this. Really appreciate your participation. Okay, and if anyone needs any tech support at this point, just let me know. But I'll see you all in a few minutes time. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for rejoining the meeting. I hope that was long enough to have a brief discussion in your groups about what feels important to you and why you're here. And yeah, why you think this forum could be important for Neath Port Talbot. I wonder whether anybody would like to be the first to put their hand up and just share any thoughts in answer to that question with the wider group. Phil, I can see Phil Williams. Would you like to unmute? Why does this feel important to you?
Not so much me, but the small community I was in just now. We all had different reasons and different priorities, but it all came back to the same thing, and that was linking up with other organizations. And I think we all agreed that it didn't matter what we felt was important. What stayed above all of that was just linking up with other organizations and kind of offering that support to each other.
Really well put and a great message to start with there, Phil. Thank you for that. I think that's really where our hearts lie. Collaboration is so important and supporting each other in a really place-based way. You know, we're all here local to each other. It's important that we know who's doing what and find those opportunities to hear from each other, support each other and see where the opportunities are. Thank you for that. Who else would like to say something? Why is today important? Helen.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate something from the group that I was in. Oliver made a really good point and a really strong point actually about this should be about action. It's all very well sharing ideas and it's all very well sharing contacts. We already made some contacts in the group, which was brilliant, and I think it is about some sort of networking and also for us to be able to share things on funding and how we can help businesses. But it's got to be about action. It's got to be about how we help each other to be more successful as a region and how do we keep more money in the region as well. And so I think, Oliver, I'm speaking for you, but hopefully that's, the main point that came out of our group discussion.
Brilliant. Thank you, Helen. Time for a couple more hands. Who else would like to share what feels important to you? Why are you here? Alison, lovely to see you.
Hi Dawn. Hi, everyone. Yes, just echoing what Helen has said there, really, and the feedback from Oliver. For us, I think we were talking about, obviously, the fact that it's vitally important we know who's on our doorstep, what we can do to collaborate and work together in terms of suppliers, sharing knowledge, links to funding. We were talking about, why reinvent the wheel when we have similar problems, similar challenges, and we can help each other. It's so much more efficient. Things like ESG funding, in the circular economy. We're all going to have similar challenges, similar problems to move forward. It seems crazy that we should be working on it independently, same as innovating in isolation when there might be others really around the corner that might be able to really help us with that, share skills or knowledge or whatever it might be. So hugely important.
Thanks, Alison. Loads there. Really great to capture that. And it really echoes what others have said. And knowing who's on our doorstep and finding those opportunities to work together. Anyone else? Why are you here? What feels important to you? I'm looking for a waving hand there. Sarah Fowler.
Hi there. Yes, in our group, one of the key things that came up was recruitment and retention. Particularly one of the businesses in the group is based in the valleys, so transport is potentially an issue there, and particularly for younger people. So again, learning from the experience of others in terms of how they go about recruiting and retaining staff. And this is something that we need to do as a group, anybody to lobby and so on, in terms of what's needed to address those issues.
Thank you, Sarah. I think skills and retention of talent and matching up local people with local opportunities is a key item for the agenda of this group. So really great to hear that. And as you say, how can we collaborate to address the sort of skills and talent challenges that many businesses are facing? Adil, your hand is up. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, again, an interesting point made by one of the companies that in the group that I was in, and it's sort of reflecting the message that Alison has said. It's about there'll be common problems and common issues faced by businesses, and it's about getting the learning around that between businesses, I think. So it seems to be a very common message that's coming across. So that is a great reflection of the fact that many of the businesses here have that mindset already. So there seems to be a good grounding in terms of where everyone's looking to come from, and I want to get out of this as well. If you don't mind me saying, it was Graham from Ministry of Furniture who raised that issue in terms of looking at issues that may be common and learning from each other. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the same sector, but you've got similar issues where that learning experience can help. And as Alison from Safety Letterbox said, why reinvent the wheel? Whether it's a case of funding and so on, or lessons learned in terms of how you've overcome an issue for the business. So it's great to see that it's a lot of common focus coming across here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adil. Yeah, great. I think we'll have more time for discussion as the afternoon rolls on, but I say that in the sincere hope that all of our speakers keep to their 4 or 5 minute time slots to allow a bit more discussion as the afternoon rolls on. But certainly it's great to hear already that partners feel this could be an important initiative. And it will be what you guys make of it. And I think as we seek to plan the agenda of meetings and events over the coming weeks and months, we really will value your input and your insight in terms of what the priority topics are for discussion and how we can make this as action focused and as useful to everybody as possible. Now we have got, I think, around 12 short presentations to get through this afternoon. Now, these are local firms based in Neath Port Talbot who want to share what they're up to, and we've invited to come and talk to us all about current challenges and opportunities. And it's just to start the ball rolling in terms of information sharing and knowledge sharing and just that awareness of who's here on our doorstep. So as I say, I think and hope it will be inspiring to hear from local firms just briefly introducing themselves and what they're up to. And first up, if I can call on you, Philip Wallace, we have Phil from TWI Wales. And Phil, are you there and ready to share? Yeah, we can see your slides, so you're welcome to unmute.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, great. Hi, Phil.
Hi there. Nice to meet you all. I'll do my best to stick to the 5 minutes. Well, TWI, we're the technology centre based in Port Talbot. We've been here for 18 years. We're part of the TWI Limited Group. TWI originally stood for the Welding Institute, and basically, as a very brief summary of the institute overall, we're specialists in any critical structures in terms of what materials do you want to use to build the structure, how are you going to join the various components within the structure, what are the likely failure modes that could cause the structure to fail, failure analysis if structures have failed. But what we actually do in our Port Talbot region is specialist inspection, non-destructive testing. So hopefully we are the specialists that will tell you how to inspect your critical structures to find potential defects before your structure would fail in service. We're approximately 40 people now down in the Port Talbot Centre. The group overall is 60 specialist NDT specialists. And we've got people based in Middlesbrough and Cambridge. The main centre, though, is our new centre. I say new, is the large centre that we've got down here in Port Talbot. What do we do? Our specialist areas are developing NDE methodologies, whether it be an ultrasonic inspection capability or radiography capability. How can we apply those inspection technologies into complex geometries, or if you're in a manufacturing process and an inline manufacturing line? And is it possible to take the human element out of those specialist inspections by applying automation and robotics? But in this day and age, let's face it, everything is based on a bed of software. So a lot of what we do is automating inspections, and then the data analysis of what we capture from whatever form, with ultrasound or radiography, we're starting to apply artificial intelligence to analyze that data, yet again, to try to remove the human error element out of these specialist inspections. What do we work on? Well, typically the structure behind me, oil rigs and oil platforms, that's a massive part of TWI's industry base. But we are now heavily involved in the nuclear industry, military, and of course now renewables. And if you see on the images that's on the screen, you can see in our center the large robotics, the large robots that we've got there. They're designed to inspect structures such as composite aerospace wings, aerospace structures, wind turbines. And that system that you see there is actually quite unique in the world. And we developed that in order to support a major aerospace company develop and build this new engine cowlings for engines that will all be flying on holiday within the next 5 years. Nobody else in the world could do that. We've also on that structure by applying very specialist ultrasonic inspection techniques. We've actually provided support to the likes of SpaceX out in California, and the rockets that we're seeing now taking off quite reliably and regularly. We've been a party to some of the development of that activity out there. But we do also work on then smaller structures. We go down to microelectronics, electronic components within circuit boards. But essentially, we are specialist inspectors using the leading edge technology in the world to support industry and keeping their critical structures safe. How was that?
Well, that was very concise. Thank you so much there, Phil. That's really great. I think you can click to stop sharing your screen. Perfect. Lovely. Well, hopefully those are some of the themes that we'll hear again and again as we go forward. Those world-leading technologies and involvement in lots of different industries, including future trend industries like renewables, as you say. But yes, a great inspiring start. So thank you, Phil, and thanks for keeping to time. That was very well done. So we've got another Phil coming up next. This is Phil Williams from SWS Certification Services. Phil, are you here and ready to share your presentation? Oh, there we go. Yeah, great.
Let's see. Okay. Can you see that screen okay?
We can.
Okay. So how do we follow Phil then? Right. So yes, I'm Phil Williams, co-owner of SWS Certification Services. My day job is Director of Operations, Aviation Safety and Quality. We were founded in May 2004 as an independent design, test and certification organization for the civil aviation industry. That covers everything from commercial aircraft, VIP, utilities, such as air ambulances and police and defense. We hold approvals and we initially held approvals with the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. Might have heard the word EASA. They do look after aerospace in the whole of Europe. And we were what they call a Part 21J approved design organization. So we were a EASA organization from January 2007 through to 2020, the end of 2020, when we all transitioned through Brexit from the EU, and then we became a UK Civil Aviation Authority Part 21J organization. Our terms of approval under that approval is, first of all, our product scope is that we can work on anything from large, small aircraft, airplanes, and large and small rotorcraft. So basically the only things we don't get involved with is balloons and microlights, basically. The activity scope within our approval is we work on major and minor design changes. So we support airlines, operators, that sort of thing. And we have some limited major and minor repairs that we can do on aircraft as well. And, you know, our sort of competencies is structures, cabin safety, avionics, electrical systems, environmental control systems. So coming into some of the, just nice to show what we've been involved with. So this is a VIP interior of so we took an RAF Voyager, an aircraft refueler, Airbus A330. And we actually took out all the interiors of the aircraft and designed and certified a new interior that is used by the British government, ministers and the royal family. Obviously, this is the sort of the lower end of the VIP. Can't show you too much more about that. We worked with an organisation, again, very much a VIP aircraft, where we've fitted 8 sleeping quarters and a lounge in the loft space of Boeing 747-8 Intercontinental, which is basically the largest commercial aircraft you can have. So it's got a nice little stairway up to it. People can go up and sleep in that during their sort of VIP trips and so on. This has been a good product for us. It's called Sky Couch. We worked with Air New Zealand and Wichita University to develop an economy seat. It looks very simple. And it is in its way. Basically, it's a lie flat economy seat. Allows parents and children to relax during their sort of medium to long haul flights. And basically, the big thing about Sky Couch is that it's a fully flat area that allows people to relax a bit more than what you normally would in economy. I'm seeing that time's moving on. So this is one of the important things that we're kind of working on at the moment. We're part of a consortia, SOS consortia, called Air for All. It's going to be a game changer. It's harmonizing accessibility across air travel globally. We're working with the Ministry of Transport in the UK. We're trying to make it legislation, white paper to ensure that everybody gets the best chance of flying. We know that that some of us do get a hard time, especially people in their wheelchairs. Always, you hear stories of them being on board for an hour, 2 hours after the flight has landed. This is what we're offering, is that we're going to give accessibility and hopefully on all aircraft that allows people to turn up in their own wheelchairs and become part of that cabin environment without having any sort of fuss and bother. We've got the backing also from Sir Stephen Hillier, who's the chair of the UK Civil Aviation Authority. We've also been shortlisted for a Crystal Cabin Award for this design, and hopefully you'll see it coming in the news in the near future. But please check it out on airforall.net. Just very quickly, what I'd like to say about successes. We're a solid brand. We're always continuously looking at our business development. We have highly skilled engineers, and the company's made up of that. That's our backbone, and good program management. Knowledge base. We see ourselves as, on one hand, engineers, the other hand, lawyer, in regards to regulations and standards in our industry, constantly changing, and you have to keep pace with that. We've got a good reputation worldwide, and we've always got a willingness for diversity, which I think is important for any startup businesses. Is don't be afraid to try something out, and we have. Also, don't be afraid if things go wrong to put your hand up and say, all right, we've tried it, let's try something else. Challenges for us, pandemic has been huge, Brexit has as well. It's hit our industry very hard. We've had,
I'm on a meeting.
We've had customers that
okay,
that have gone out of business themselves, airlines operators, and certainly had lots of projects put on hold or cancelled over time over the last 2 years. Hopefully there is some light at the end of the tunnel for us now, which is great. Got some good projects going on. And some of the other challenges are skill base. It was something we did talk about in the little forum we had, is knowledge base and skill base. It's looking at this looking for experienced people is very difficult. Postgraduates and apprentices, again, is a bit of a challenge. And it's, what do you do for the best? And that's one of the main challenges for us. And obviously overheads with everything sort of going up in price.
Great. Okay, Phil, can I cut in there? And
of course, that's it.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for covering all of that. Really inspiring to see some of those designs of VIP areas, and that economy lounge thing. You'd need 3 seats, but I think that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you can probably stop sharing your own screen there, Phil, if you can find the button to do that.
I'll try to.
That would be great. And then we'll be getting ready to hear from Charlotte Hale from So Modular. If I can, no, I can't stop your screen sharing. Charlotte, are you there and able to share yours?
Hi, yes, I'm here, but I can still see I'm viewing Phil Williams. I can't seem to get that off a minute.
How do I stop that then?
If you roll to the top of your screen, Phil, they should see a thing saying stop share there. But Charlotte, will you try and share yours? Because I think you might.
I can't, sorry, I don't know. Try share, this will stop.
Try again,
I got it. There we are. I think I've got it.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Thank you, Phil. That's great. No worries. Okay, Charlotte. Yes, that's good. Okay.
Right.
Lovely. Thank you.
Okay. 2 seconds. Sorry. So Modular. So we're an innovative timber frame manufacturer based here in Neath in South Wales. We consult, design, manufacture and erect modular structures across the UK for a large portfolio of clients, including national home builders, main contractors, also private developers, local authorities and housing associations. So our product range includes your open and closed panel, which you can see on the left-hand corner of the screen. So the closed panel systems can have many forms of insulation down to the client's requirements. On the bottom then left, which you can see a big green panel, that is actually a section of floor. These can go up to 10 meters in length. So we make them in an off-site facility. So then there's a speed of erection on site, which they're installed with a crane. We also supply you trusses, which is one of the top photos there to the left. This is just a timber structure for your roofs. So onto our modular systems. So we also supply a panelized modular, which you can see there on the screen with the panels with the windows and doors in. You can also have on these the external skin of the building, whether it's bricks or brick slips, and also external cladding. We also then run battens internally ready for your services to be installed on site. And last but not least, which is the top right-hand screen there, you've got volumetric construction. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's essentially building house inside a factory, and then it's transported to site. So one of the things we've been delighted to, as of late, to contribute towards is a new lease of life to the 70-year-old metal box factory that we're residing in today. You can see some CGIs and then a real-life photo down the bottom. So we've refurbed this building to make it sustainable in its operation and by its design. And we're producing all the products which I've just mentioned above here. The outcome of this is the creation of over 250 potential job opportunities for the local area, and also the creation of a training academy. So we're setting up a training academy with Neath Port Talbot College to help the industry skills gap in construction. There's a huge shortage of skills with the right skills to construct modular buildings. So we're setting this up as well with Cardiff University. It's going all the way from apprentice level to a degree level. So factory blown insulation. We're developing a lot of new materials that can be blown in with the system you can see on screen there. These fully fill the cavities, so are far more sustainable for the client and the environment. Two of the products we're using here are Welsh sheep's wool product and a wood fibre, which is essentially waste wood from trees being produced into a fibre form. So one of the first developments using this wood fibre system is Gwynvine in Swansea. This is 144 zero carbon homes. These are comprising of a range of technologies, including solar panels, mechanical heat recovery, ground source heat pumps, and battery storage. The battery storage will use the excess heat in the home to then store that for a time when the occupants most need it most, basically. So this will generate huge savings for this homeowner. And as we all know, with energy prices rising, this is a great benefit for them to have. So volumetric modular, as I mentioned earlier, sorry, I can't get my words out, is basically a project we're doing on County Flats, which resides just behind the cinema in Port Talbot, for those of you who know the Talbot area. This is 55 new builds as well, which will be constructed using our timber modular system, which you can see in the right-hand corner of the screen. This will be utilising natural forms of insulation, actually 3 on this scheme, because we're going to, which is going to be mycelium, wood fibre, and natural Welsh sheep's wool. And we're going to be doing comparative testing on this scheme in order to find out the best insulations to feed back data and analysis to the Welsh Government. These will also be fitted with intelligent management systems, monitoring energy usage with the homes, so flagging areas of excess usage for the homeowner to be able to manage their energy better. And on to the challenges we faced. We faced many of these last 24 months. And one huge challenge was developing this building you can see here on screen. And it wasn't purpose-built. It was already working with a not purpose-built building to make it into what it is today. This took many meetings, appointments of consultants, 6 months to 7 months in planning to overcome many hurdles of the existing structure to get it work efficient for efficiencies producing our product. So further to this, I'm sure many of you also have had this. Oh, sorry, I've just gone all the way through the video. So basically, due to COVID, we've had many labour shortages, material shortages, which we've really struggled on our sites. And we've had to put a huge amount of money into resource on recruitment. I'll probably say something now which shouldn't say, but me and my HR manager went out on a works night out. We didn't get in until 4 a.m. when we had to be at the job centre for 9 a.m. But that's all I can say is I'm very thankful for the mask that day due to COVID and hiding my alcohol breath. But the moral of this story is that in recent times have all been tough on us and we're set for more, but I believe that we must keep going and we shouldn't give up, because the job centre that day, we offered 5 people a job that matched the criteria of the specification we needed for the job. And if we didn't do that day, we could have ended up basically not having a client, not having that kit produced. So I just want to say thank you for Neath Council and bringing us together here today and the 4th region to help us realise what's on our doorstep and hopefully make some synergies and partnerships that will last a lifetime. Thank you.
Brilliant, Charlotte. Thank you so much for that presentation and for sharing sort of the challenges and the opportunities that you guys are facing. We hear about modular construction all the time, so it's just fantastic to have such a thriving local firm creating jobs and opportunities right here on our doorsteps. So thank you so much for that presentation. That was great. Next, we're coming to Ian Ferris from Paragon Engineered Timber. Ian, are you here and ready to talk to us this afternoon?
Certainly, sharing out.
Ah, there you are, great. And if you'd like to share your screen, please do so. Be fab. Okay. There we are.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's coming, it's loading now. Yeah, that's right. If you click into presenter mode now, we should be able to see That's it. Perfect. Take it away.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm Ian Ferris. I'm one of the directors here at Paragon. We established in May 2018. We're now currently in our 4th year of trading. What I thought I'd do, I'll be a bit selfish, so I bring Julian across with me as well, who's our operations manager. He looks after day-to-day running of the business. And also as well, what I thought I'd do is also introduce our sister company, which is Castle Carpentry, and they're based in Neath Abbey Business Trading Estate. So where we are, Castle are based in Neath Abbey Business Park, and we are based in the Volpole in Neath Fell Business Park. And the two businesses really work quite hand in hand, to be honest with you, and we'll come on to that in a minute. The geographic supply area that we service, we supply obviously the whole of South Wales, probably as far up to probably mid Wales at the moment, with sort of plans to sort of extend upon that. We go into the sort of southwest of England, as far east as Newbury, as far north as Worcester, and as far south as Taunton. And you can see the sort of our growth ring, if you like, in terms of our sort of medium to long-term plans is where we look to expand further into, really, in terms of supply area. What we do as a business, we do multiple products. We supply roof trusses, spandrel panels, and engineered posi joists to a number of the sort of well-recognised national and regional blue chip volume house builders, such as your Persimmon Homes, your Bellways, your St. Albans, etc. And since since our conception in 2018, we've sort of grown organically as a business through established relationships and natural growth, really. Talking about equipment and what we do, I'll pass across to Julian.
Hi everybody, I'm Julian Andrews. I'm the sort of operations manager up here. When the business was sort of built, we were keen on bringing in sort of modern technologies and up-to-date equipment, really, to sort of drive efficiencies. And we installed one of the presses in our truss manufacturing factory, which was the first of its type in the UK. It was it's Teach and Go Mark II press, which is semi-automatic essentially. And although there are others now produced and being used out the UK, 4 years ago we installed the first one here in Neath. We then moved on to installing other products, the sort of technologies. We have a laser system to sort of drive accuracies and stuff, and obviously crane equipment. We supply roof trusses and spandrel panels, along with open web metal joists that we've added to our sort of business in the last sort of 12 months.
And what we're trying to do at the moment, we've grown naturally and organically, as we've mentioned, with the core products such as roof trusses and spandrel panels. But since we've sort of put the posi joist online, which is basically the start of 2021, we're growing that business naturally as well through sort of current committed customer base, and we're looking to expand upon that as well with new business effectively. Alongside Paragon, we also work very closely with Castle Carpentry, which is our sister company. Castle effectively are a carpentry subcontractor. So effectively, we can offer as a wider business the one-stop shop in terms of design, manufacture, delivery, and install of the products that we supply to the end user, which is quite a niche in today's market, really. Castle also offer, they actually have a fully stocked timber yard, and they offer all kinds of building materials and products to the open public as well, to Joe Public. So, go on.
As with sort of many companies really in the area, especially in the sort of construction and manufacturing industry, the main challenges we've sort of come across in the last 12 months or so, increased material prices, increased material shortages, increased lead times, and like we discussed in our small team earlier, it's the recruitment that is a challenge for us to keep up with our growth, and obviously retaining skills has been a bit of a problem for us over the last sort of 12 months, especially with COVID, and then obviously there's more and more young people in the area which are lacking skills and transport links to get up to where we're situated. We're keen on offering people opportunities as we continue to grow But we are, our main challenge is at the moment recruiting people to come on the journey with us, really.
Thanks both Ian and Julian for a great summary of those two businesses. Really, really great to hear what you guys are up to, and that same challenge coming up again and again about skills. And I also appreciate that you've mentioned transport there, and getting people to work is a key consideration as well that we will need to be talking about. Hopefully you can find the button if you go near the top of your screen to stop sharing. That's fab. Lovely. Thank you for joining us today to introduce yourselves and your company. That's really, really interesting and great to hear from you both. I'm going to keep whizzing on because we're running a little behind time, although you've all done fairly well. I think we're on a sort of 6 or 7 minute average. So let's see if we can catch up some time. Simon Wright from Intuity. Simon, are you here to share some slides? If you can unmute yourself.
Indeed, yes.
Great. There we go. Okay, that's coming. There we are. And then if you go to presenter mode, we should see. That's it. Perfect.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Simon Wright. I'm CEO and founder of Intuity. I've taken a slightly different approach to everybody else in terms of the slide deck, and they've been pretty good. So yeah, I may have made a mess of this, but there we go. So I thought I'd answer two very, very simple questions. Yeah. Why Port Talbot and what is Intuity? So the first one, why Port Talbot? Yeah. So the easiest thing for the world for me would have been to start up in central London, where I've worked a lot, or the Oxford sort of technology belt. So apart from being Port Talbot and born and maturized like a fine whiskey, I guess, there's two very, very important things I think that Port Talbot has: ingredients. So if you look at the innovation process, right, it's you have to have great imagination. You become creative with that imagination. It eventually turns into some sort of innovation at the back end. If you look at sort of the wealth of artistic talent and creativity in Port Talbot, what better place to start, eh? And moving on from that, then the second ingredient I think is incredibly important. You look at how Port Talbot's been at the forefront of many industrial revolutions over the past couple of centuries probably, and we probably missed the last one, the fourth industrial revolution. And now we're entering the fifth industrial revolution. Yeah, with smart tech and bringing it social, bringing tech into the house. It's an incredible time to start moving on that journey and grasp it, because I think we've got the people there to make the difference. So moving on a little bit to what we do. So we are a AI-based cloud platform, and making it really simple, we help people and organizations make incredible business decisions, predominantly at the moment around risk management, safety, and quality, but that will expand with our AI engines we've built. Not to bore nobody with the technology, I'm sure everybody will sleep in within 10 minutes. So one of our customers referred to it as this incredible plastic brain that we've created using natural language understanding, which is right at the cutting edge of technology. We then help organizations, they say, bring out lessons learned, risk management, bring out the pertinent parts of specifications and scope instantaneously, making incredible efficiency decisions. But what's completely unique about us, we've got this autonomous learning with our platform as well, then, that becomes more and more intelligent. You've got this complete cycle going round and round constantly, bringing improvements. So just give it a feel where we are at the moment. This is just some of the customers we've picked up in an incredibly short period. Yeah. So we've been really specific, predominantly within the enterprise market, predominantly engineering, but we're already getting inbound from oil and gas, aviation, being heard of today, healthcare. We're on the cusp of a large VC round coming off the back of an EIS round. It's an exciting place to be. So yeah, hopefully I brought a little bit of time back for you, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. That is super helpful. And really great to hear kind of some of those reasons for locating the business here in Neath Port Talbot. And I think the fact that you're born and bred here is obviously the key thing for that. And we need more local people to start their businesses and grow their businesses here in Neath Port Talbot, and to recognise the benefits of this location in lots of ways. And I loved what you said there about the fifth industrial revolution. And given that you're in AI, you're clearly a big part of new technology in that sector. So really fantastic. Thank you so much, Simon, and thanks for keeping us to time. That's brilliant. Right, Patrick, are you here? I've got the next speaker is Patrick Dodds from Hexagon. Patrick, are you around and able to share a few words about your company?
Yep, certainly.
Great. Hi, Patrick. Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'll try and be quick with this. So we're Hexagon, and we spun out of Swansea University as part of my doctorate research a few years ago now, and we're currently just scaling and entering into the export market. So the majority of our sales actually are export as well. So the reason why we exist is that we replace a toxic chemical called hexavalent chromate. And if this doesn't ring a bell, it's the chemical that Erin Brockovich, the film, was based upon. And that this chemical is probably one of the most widely used corrosion inhibitors in paint across the world. So on any aircraft you go on, many of the buildings we're sat in will probably have had hexavalent chromate applied to stop from corrosion. And the doctorate was to really replace this with something completely different before the ban came into force. So actually in Europe and the UK followed, obviously, but they banned the use of it. It's illegal to use it apart from if you've got a special license now. So across Europe, they had to remove it. So our technology...
I'm just going to interrupt you briefly, Patrick. I'm not sure we're seeing the right slides on screen. We're getting a bit of an error message up. So it may be sharing a different window from the one that you're looking at. You want to try it again? I think we're missing your slides.
Can you see it now?
We can. That looks much better. Thank you. Thanks.
There we go. Sorry about that. So as I say, Erin Brockovich was the film based around this chemical that gave everyone cancer in the town, biggest lawsuit. So I was challenged as part of my research to find something called a smart release system. So we make micro reservoirs that detect, call it chemical intelligence, but they can tell if there's a corrosion event happening. And what they do is they take in the corrosive ions and they release out the inhibitor that protects from any further damage. So the coating becomes self-healing. So it's in the coating system to protect from any further damage. So just a simple enhancement of a system on the left is just an industry standard used in oil and gas. And then with a simple enhancement of our product added into the system, the benefits can be seen on the performance there as well. And just to wrap it up, there's a very quick video here, which probably summarizes and explains the company better than I can. So I'll just play this now and hopefully you can all hear the audio.
Right, that's not playing for us yet.
No, technology is letting us down again, so
no worries. And it depends whether you tick the box to say share sound when you shared your screen. Do you think you did that? Or maybe the video is not playing yet.
Can you enable content first?
Yeah. You might need to enable content. Oh yeah, can you see that little yellow button that says enable content on your window there?
On the window, sorry about this.
It's okay. There's a button on your screen that says enable content, Patrick. Can you see that one? Try that. Yeah, just down from where your cursor is. There we are, yeah. Do you see that?
Yeah, is it?
No, down from there. I'm not sure we're seeing quite what you're seeing.
So it's
somebody circled enable content. It's just on the right hand side.
There we are. Oh, I think you might be looking at a different. There we are. That's it. Enable content. Now you can try and play the video, but I'm concerned we may not have the sound, so you can give that a try.
3.2% of the world's CO2 emissions come from newly manufactured steel. 3.2% of the world's CO2.
So that's 2 seconds.
3.2% of the world's CO2 emissions come from newly manufactured steel to replace corroded steel, which costs the world economy trillions of dollars a year. Coating systems containing inhibitors are used to prevent corrosion and slow corrosion down. Hexagon's additives bring coatings to life, making them smart and self-healing. Our technology uses chemical intelligence to detect corrosion. The inhibitors are trigger released so that protection is on demand. Hexagon is utilizing waste streams and recycling them into the IntelliIon products. This will prevent thousands of tons of material going into landfill or incineration. Hexagon's IntelliIon anti-corrosive additives replace heavy metals, phosphates and toxic chromates with highly effective, environmentally friendly organic additives. IntelliIon enables coatings manufacturers to remove warning labels. IntelliIon additives have been exhaustively efficacy tested by Hexagon, as well as by international coating producers through numerous industry standard weathering assessments in a broad spectrum of resin types, coating types, and coatings manufacturing routes. Please visit our website for more information.
There you go. Well, technical difficulties, that's us in a nutshell.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing. That is really, really interesting to see. And another great example of a local company that's at the cutting edge of technology and I suppose chemistry. I'm not quite sure, but really, really great, Patrick. Thank you for coming along and introducing the business to us. Do stay around for some further discussion. Brilliant. Right, now we're on to David Cornelius, if you're there. David from Cornelius, are you here and able to talk to us? We may not have David just yet, in which case I can move swiftly on to Neil Morgan from Weldeck. Neil, are you here? Right, there's a bit of silence. Right, well, I know we've got Chris McDermott. Chris, are you here from Engineering?
I am indeed.
Great. Can I come on to you then? That would be fab.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
There we go. Great.
Great. Everyone see that okay?
Yep, we can see that. Thanks, Chris.
Great. Okay. So afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris McDermott. I'm the Managing Director of Engineering. We've been around since 2016. And yeah, in the space of 6 years, we've grown from a few guys in an office who had a bit of a dream to a company now with 24 staff and working from a 20,000 square foot unit over in Bagland Energy Park. As you can see from the front slide here, we specialise in flood defence and blast protection. So I'm just going to take you through a few slides just to give you a little bit of overview of what we do and who we are. So everything we build is bespoke. So design is an absolutely critical part of our operation. It's one of our biggest challenges, but also one of the most innovative and important things that we do. So there's just a very simple 3D animation of one of our most basic products, a pedestrian floodgate. But as well as using 3D parametric modeling to design our products and to help integrate with our clients' design needs, we also go a little bit further as well, looking a little bit deeper at the actual product design and its capabilities, and its, particularly its capabilities to withstand the design loadings. A big feature of any flood defence project is the physical forces that the product is going to have to withstand. So yeah, we go into quite a lot of detail using FEA and structural analysis to help design products to just make sure that they perform as intended. So I'll give you an overview of some of our products here. Here are floodgates. So as you can see here, there's a couple of different varieties of these products. We've got the vehicle type gates. You see at the top left of your screen there with one of our vans behind it. These typically cast into a reinforced concrete flood wall to allow for vehicles to pass in and out of a site that's being defended. I should add there as well, this is the utility site. That's our biggest market by far in the UK, protecting critical infrastructure, electrical substations, water treatment works, things like that. We also do pedestrian variants of these gates as well. You can see one in the bottom left of the screen there in Hollybush green, one of the most popular colours in the UK. certainly for us. We do other variances as well, face fixed types and sliding variants and whatever. We tend to take quite a bespoke view to our design, so every product looks kind of different. Flood doors then, these are slightly different in that these are typically retrofitted into an existing opening, which brings its own challenges. Again, it's a bespoke process. We've got to fit the customer requirements. So we've got a couple of different varieties of these here. We do single and double, but as you can see in the middle at the bottom there, there's an inner leaf on the right-hand side. That's what we call a dual access flood door that allows people to get into a premises during a flood. I have to say, to date, we haven't actually heard of anyone actually using it to get into a flood, during a flood. I mean, it would be quite a sight, really, someone paddling a dinghy up to the door, but they've got that option there if they need it. We also make these as security doors as well, so an additional layer of protection to protect against intruder entry. Perhaps though the most innovative and unique thing that we do though is to provide a complete flood defense solution. So this is bringing together various different disciplines and skills that we've got in-house and expertise we've got about flood defense, bringing them all together to provide a complete solution to a property or an asset. So you can see here we've got a 132 kilovolt control room that we're protecting using a range of products like doors. We've got wall protection on that. We've got a barrier at the front. We're building a small wall around. We can do all of this in-house, and that really gives us a strong competitive advantage over other people in the industry. Now, the other part of our business is blast protection. It's slightly bit of a departure from flood, as you can imagine, but similarities in the way things are designed and the fact that we've got design against forces. So for this here, I'm going to just give you a little bit of a case study. So this was a project that we exported to Singapore. We do nearly all of our blast projects are export. We're looking to grow it a little bit in the UK, but this was one we sent to Singapore. As an example of some of the typical design specification that we received for a blast defense product and the calculations that we run in order to design the product to meet that specification. I'm not going to talk through all the calculations because, quite frankly, I don't really understand them myself, but there's people smarter than me here who do. So here's the product going through the design process there. You can see the 3D model on the left and then the product in manufacture. And then here is the product installed in Singapore, not by us, I should add, by our customer. Now, the blast load into this door was quite significant, and that is why the door is, as well as you can see, it's quite a bit of a piece of work. And I'm just going to finish here, guys, by showing you a video that I just think is quite cool, to be honest. It's a product we had to, a blast test that we undertook in our product range last year up in RAF Spade Adam, and yeah, the video speaks for itself. So we've had a report on the back of this now, just to say that the product performed to the particular response level, which was C15, which was a 100 kilogram TNT blast at 50 meter range, pretty much the highest level that they would test you on that site. Thanks for listening.
Wow, those are some heavy duty doors there, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. It's funny when you've got company names that are a bit cryptic, like MME or MM Engineering, and none of us would have a clue what you do. So really, really great to shine a light on some of that. Flood defence, obviously, sadly, a growing sector, no doubt. And yeah, great to see that heavy duty door. Really fantastic. Thanks for sharing. So you can stop sharing your screen if you can find the button. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. And next up on my list, we've got David Rees from ML Devices. David, I think you're in the room. Are you available and ready to talk to us this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm online, thank you. And I'll endeavour to pull up my presentation.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, great. Thank you. Let me know if you need any tech support there. That's coming. Great.
Am I
Yes.
sharing the full presentation?
Yeah, we can see that. That looks great.
Okay, because I'm not that familiar with Zoom. Sometimes I end up sharing the wrong screen, unfortunately. There we go.
It looks like the right screen to me. Thank you, David.
Okay, I'm David Rees. I'm the program manager for Microlink Devices. Picking up on a couple of points made by earlier speakers, the need to attract, train, retain was something we recognised quite early. And in terms of our journey going forward, at the moment we're recruiting very high level technical expertise. We brought in PhDs and master's degrees, guys who are expert in material sciences and engineering. But our longer term goal is we have to grow a whole array of talent, everything from apprentice to technician and so on and so forth, in order to have the right capability in place over time. And to that end, you'll notice on our slide that we are enterprise partners for the IET. Enterprise partners is targeted very specifically at smaller businesses, small to medium-sized enterprises, and it's a multidisciplinary engineering institution. And we're using them as the as a pathway, if you will, to take all of our engineers through their full, for them to stretch themselves as far as they wish to go, so that the company as a whole is sponsoring every engineer that has the ambition in the company to evolve to get to the condition where they become chartered engineers. Another big part that was mentioned both in the chat room and by earlier speakers was about networking with appropriate expertise. So we're also members of CS Connected. CS Connected is a body sponsored by UK government to evolve compound semiconductor technologies and capabilities. And this is a specific industry cluster that's set up in South Wales. The nature of the industry is it's got a lot of technical depth, and there are relatively few people in the world that can do it well. So we have to work collaboratively, and we're working with IQE and KLA and other companies that are based in South Wales, because they will become key parts of our solution over time. We're not here to use somebody else's term, reinvent the wheel. So where are we? Many of you will recognize this building. You've probably seen it from the M4 if you haven't recognized it. We recently set up our UK operation at the Innovation Centre, Baglan Energy Park. The origin of the business is in the US, and the early development of the devices was fully conducted in the US and has been brought to a level of maturity where it's now viable as a product. And they've been producing, let's call them prototyping volumes and pre-production volumes in Illinois over the past 4 or 5 years. COVID aside, the market for very lightweight, high efficiency solar cells is going to grow exponentially. I'm well aware that in Europe, there isn't enough capacity to fill demand. So we hope that's going to make us very rich. Our principal target markets. HAPS is an acronym for High Altitude Pseudo Satellites. These are solar powered aircraft that fly in the stratosphere. They fly at an altitude about twice the altitude of most commercial aircraft, to put that into context for you. They're largely used as surveillance devices in place of satellites. So, for example, if you were to have a natural disaster, flooding perhaps, to pick up on Chris's points earlier, you could put one of these directly over the afflicted area, and it would become a sensor platform and a communications platform to direct your response teams on the ground, whether that's Environment Agency, whether it's blue light services, or so on and so forth. So in effect, the purpose of HAPS is to have a deployable sensor and communications capability. We're also looking to enter the satellites market and there's a significant growth projected for low Earth orbit satellites. So you will see, probably seen in the press a lot about Maxar and OneWeb. These are relatively small satellites, so they're less than 500 kilograms, and they're quite sophisticated communication platforms. In order to be able to meet their operating costs, they have to significantly reduce the size, weight, and power of the satellites they're putting into orbit. So the need to have lightweight, high efficiency energy source and energy management systems is key to them going forward. And again, anywhere where you need to have a sustainable energy source that is relatively robust is key. So we're also looking at sensor platforms, and we've had some interest from a UK-based defence company in that respect. So what makes us special? So many of you will be familiar with solar panels that are static structures that you see on many buildings. They use an entirely different chemistry. The key for us is really, I should explain, AM0 is an internationally recognized standard for direct sunlight. So you have sunlight hitting the panel at 90 degrees to the panel. If you look at our capability, we have a very high efficiency device for low mass, and that makes us particularly attractive for those target markets. You also see from the image to the right, it looks like a piece of foil. It's very flexible. It's relatively ductile. Most of the competitors have relatively brittle devices. So, for example, in space, triple junction on germanium is pretty much the standard and has been a standard for decades. It's hugely expensive, it's brittle, and it has to be protected by specialist leaded glasses. So all of these things add to the mass of the satellite. So we're not attractive at this time because of relatively low production volumes. We're not attractive to other markets, but that doesn't mean we won't be in the future. My key task is to take what is effectively a prototype pre-production manufacturing facility and grow it to a megawatt scale. I should explain, our unit of sales are in watts. We charge our customer not for the product, but for its utility. So for every watt of power it's capable of generating, they have to pay us £250, which is about 20 times what you'd have to pay for the power units that typically you would see on your roof. So understandably, we're only attractive to very narrow, relatively narrow, high-tech markets at this point in time. We grow the cells on 6-inch wafers. We liberate 6 cells per wafer, and then we have to manufacture them into strings. They're protected by diodes. The purpose of the diode is if one cell fails, it doesn't lead to consequential failure of its neighbors. And then in turn, it is encapsulated in this case, a polymer pocket to protect it from the elements. And these are in turn attached to the surfaces of the HAPS platforms. Airbus as an example is used in the UK, Phaser 35 in the UK, are all using microlink devices, arrays of this type at this time. The goal is to go from approximately 50 kilowatts capability a year in terms of production at this time to a 500 kilowatt plant in South Wales within 2 years. And then we have to double it again. And then we have to double it again.
Wow.
So we're going to need very capable people to provide services. Everything from fabricating test cells and test apparatus to instrumentation to perhaps bespoke pieces of manufacturing equipment. These are the companies, these are the capabilities we're hoping to find in our immediate vicinity. And in the longer term, we want the same individual, the same capability within our neighborhood to promote our technologies and utilize them in the future. We're very well positioned with our location relative to Swansea University. It's a very valuable location for us in terms of attracting talent, and attracting, training and retaining talent in this area is a key piece for our future success. Thank you for your time.
Wow, thank you, David. And really fascinating to see that, and also great to hear about the massive growth ambitions of the business, and clearly to attract microlink devices over to the UK and to locate here in Neath Port Talbot. You've mentioned some of the reasons for that, but it's an inspiring and exciting prospect. But there's a whole supply chain there, and lots of potential for collaboration locally. So thank you for covering that.
Thank you. You're going to have to coach me as to how to stop sharing.
Stop sharing. I think you can roll to the top of your screen and you should see a red button saying stop share.
Unfortunately, I can't see anything at the moment.
Okay.
I don't see a stop share key. Excuse me a second.
Can you see that? I think I've done it for you there.
Yeah, thank you.
That's worked. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, David. Thanks for that interesting and useful presentation this afternoon. Right, folks, bear with us. We've got, I think, only 4 more presentations to whiz through, and hopefully you're finding this as interesting and useful as I am. But next up, we've got Graham from Ministry of Furniture. Graham Hurst, are you here and ready to go?
I am. I feel like it's the results from the Polish jury coming in, but here I am. So Dawn, I've prepared a video which I'll shout up in about a minute's time, if that's okay. So I promise I will keep to my 5 minutes. For those of you that don't know my story or the Ministry of Furniture story, we were the business that came out of Remploy Furniture, which was a major employer in South Wales, well, across the UK actually. I had factories as far north as Newcastle, as far south as Redruth in Cornwall. In 2014, and the government pulled the funding on that business back in 2014. It was a public sector quango, and we set up as Ministry of Furniture in 2014 on the Energy Park with 8 people. Today I'm on 2 sites, one down in Yslavera and as you'll see on the video, one still on the Energy Park, which is available for sale or rent, because we're moving across now to join Alison and a few others, so modular across that. The metal box site and Vortex, I think, are already over there. So that's all part of our success story and growth, and extra space that we need to do the things that we want to do in the future. My core competencies are in manufacturing, more increasingly in remanufacturing, which again you'll see in the video. Remanufacturing is where you take legacy furniture, or in my world, legacy furniture, legacy board, which a board is in quite short supply, chipboard in particular is in quite short supply, and you remanufacture it and turning it into something really clever and sexy, but essentially contributing to circular economy and focusing on the future generations and well-being, which is something that the public sector down here love. Dawn, I'm going to ask you if you could hopefully press my MP4 and I'll sit back for a minute.
Great. Okay, I think you guys can see that.
Yeah, I can certainly see it.
Thank you. Wowzers, great.
Hey, a bit of music for the afternoon as well, just to wake everyone up and cheer them all up. I think I'm to time there, am I?
You are, you've done really well to time. Thank you so much, Graham. Really great to see that you're in with all these regional buyers, involvement in the arena, not to mention the Welsh Government and other public sector buyers. And you know, a company that's doing really well in championing the importance of the circular economy in our region. So yeah, great to hear from you. Thanks for sharing your work, and hopefully that's inspiring to others in the room as well.
Pleasure, thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Right, so next I'm going to come to Brian Callow. Brian, are you here from ATT?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, fab. Yes,
Okay.
great. Have you got a presentation to share, Brian, or are you just speaking?
Well, I've never wanted a presentation so much in my life as I do right now, first of all. But, you know, I haven't got one, I'm afraid. So I'm just going to describe the company and what we do. At the moment, the company is called ATT Engineering. And unlike the other engineering company, our name says everything that we are and everything that we do. ATT stands for Automation, Test and Tooling, in a nutshell. It's a small company of just 9 people. We're based up in Resolving for the moment. For the last 6 years, we've been trying to build a new factory in Neath Abbey, and that's proven to be more of a task than I originally thought. But work started in January, and yeah, it's slow but steady progress. Yeah, our marketplaces are basically electronics, automotive, plastics, medical, and F1, which for a company of 9 people, we often surprise a lot of people when they come to visit us onto our shop floor with the variety of products that they see, that us produce. The reason we can be so varied for a small company is because the 8 people and myself, those 8 people have been with me since they left college. They are now in their early 40s. So I've been able to keep a very, very stable, highly skilled workforce. We're not frightened of anything. Yeah, they are basically the crux of the company. They are a bit of this company that gives us the facility and the skill and the confidence really to go forward and to look at tasks, engineering tasks in general. I worked that out just earlier on, and that combined to about 120 years of experience, which is, you know, quite proud of that. It came about me throwing them in the deep end, basically, and it was sink or swim. But yeah, most of them have swum really well. I used to be a director of a much bigger company in the mid-80s. 2 of us started the company that quickly went on to 150 people. And we had the Queen's Award for export. We had the flags in the car park. We had everything. But the communications, I'm afraid, died. And they just were not good. I found that the bigger the company, from my point of view, the more difficult it was to communicate, accurately. And so anyway, I decided that was enough of that. So I left and started this company. Yeah, about 16 years ago, I think it was. I've always said that I don't want a big company. I want a good company, and I think we are as I said, for a company of just 9 people. If I tell you that last year we exported to 7 different countries, you know, I'm sure you'll agree that's pretty good going. We exported to USA, Mexico, Ireland, Hungary, France, Hong Kong, and China. So I'm quite proud of that. If you have years ago on the original start date, we actually produced a single product under the heading of test equipment. So if you've got or had a Toshiba, Sony, Panasonic, Hitachi, if you had any of these televisions from the mid 80s to 2000, they were probably tested on equipment made in Neath Abbey. And I say Neath Abbey because earlier on we saw the Paragon, who are around the corner from us, and they showed a photograph of the Neath Abbey site. And actually, that's where we used to live as a company. But we then bought the land behind that company, and that's where we are now in the process of building that factory. As far as my company is concerned, we are about as highly skilled, I would suggest, as you can be. We're ready to take on the next stage and the next part of our growth. But for us, it's all about treading water at the moment until we actually get the new company there and the new facility there for us to move forward. Yeah, that's basically where we're at. That's what we're at. You'll see a variation of product on our shop floor that you probably wouldn't see on many engineering companies as such. But again, that's as a result of us, you know, pushing the boundaries, pushing people, and yeah, we've benefited from that. Yeah, so that's basically what all I've got to add at the moment. It's good to be. The reason why I'm here is because I've been in the past a bit skeptical about, you know, the offers being made by, you know, the establishment as such. And after, I don't know, this is probably the first time I've got involved in this for about 10 years. I just thought it would be nice to know exactly what's there and what we can do and how we can meet people and, you know, what use we can be to the people on our doorstep before we go further afield. So that's it. I'm happy with that. And like I said, I wish I had some slides to show you, but I am. We haven't even actually got a website at this point in time, but you know, we do okay.
Fantastic, Brian. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. As you say, you haven't come out before and got involved in these sorts of things, but we're really hoping that this is a forum where local businesses will engage and talk to each other about what they're up to. So great to hear about your property development project ongoing, and amazing to think that you've retained those college leavers for their whole careers. Really inspiring.
Yeah, they're now telling me what to do and how to do it.
Well, that's fantastic. I suppose that's how it should be. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for being here. Great to hear from you.
Cheers.
So a brilliant local firm with a proud history there. So fantastic to hear that. And next up we have Nick Cliff from Sandvik. Nick, are you there and ready to share?
Yes, I shall have a go now. I've been enjoying everybody else's presentation so much, I probably forgot what I was going to say, but we'll give it a go. Okay, can you see that?
We can, if you want to, click present, then we should see you.
Right, so I've got 10 slides, 30 seconds per slide. I will get through it quickly. Okay, so it's what I was going to do is to start from the top of Sandvik and just talk about who Sandvik are, and then work my way all the way down to Sandvik Osprey. So I'm the engineering manager in a company called Sandvik Osprey in Neath, been here for 40 odd years, originally started by some other individuals, which I'll explain, and more latterly in the 70s and 80s bought by Sandvik. So my first experience of Sandvik, I thought about this, was when I was a little boy a long time ago, and my dad had a wood saw which said Sandvik on it, and I thought, well, Sandvik is a saws company, but they're not just a saws company. In fact, they don't even do saws anymore, but they do an awful lot else. So where Sandvik are at the moment is mainly involved in these markets, which is metal cutting and machining. You probably will have heard of the names of Dormer and Walter and Coromant and ones like that. And Sandvik are actually the world's leading provider of cutting tools. Also, they're into mining and the processing of the stuff that's mined, and they're also a world leader in those markets. And then finally, they're also at the forefront of the constantly changing world of materials, mainly metal materials, but all sorts. So just to talk about who Sandvik are. So it's Sandvik AB, which is based in Stockholm, but they are very much a worldwide company, as you can see. About 37,000 employees. They declare their financial numbers in SEK, Swedish krona, so that's actually about 7 billion a year turnover. So they're pretty big, and we're always at the leading edge of whatever we do. So they've currently got about 6,000 patents that are in place. So now I'm going to drill down into Sandvik. So Sandvik's split up into 4 parts. And you can see the 4 parts there. I won't go into them all. And we're up in the top corner. We were actually in the bottom right-hand corner as an emerging materials company. But now we've moved to the top corner because we're very much commercialized, and we make saleable product now. And I will get to the point of what that is soon. So up in that top corner, we are a part of that in that little red square in the middle in an area called additive manufacturing. So what additive manufacturing is when you build a part up from scratch, as opposed to subtractive manufacturing, which is where you take a block of material, metal, whatever, and then you machine it down into what you actually want at the end. So that's where we are. You'll see on the left-hand side, Sandvik manufacturing, a part of Sandvik, currently has revenues of about 1 billion SEK, but we expect this very significant growth. I'll explain some of this shortly. We expect this to be 7 billion by 2025. So it's very, very fast growing. So what Osprey do? So Osprey make gas atomized metal powder. So when you look at metal powder, it doesn't sound very interesting. In fact, to be honest, when you look at what we said, it doesn't look very interesting, but it is a fascinating subject. So 3 main categories when you talk about metal powder. One is shape. So that's whether it's spherical or non-spherical. And when you gas atomize metal powder, it's spherical. Then there's the alloy it's made of, and then the last thing is its size. So whether it's coarse or fine, and I'll explain again what that is. So Osprey, or Sandvik Osprey, we've got 2 manufacturing divisions, one in Sweden, in Sandviken, and one in Neath. Neath, we mainly supply into the metal injection molding, which is where you take metal powder and bind it and form it into a mold and sinter it, or 3D printing. And 3D printing is very much where things are moving very quickly. In Sandviken, then we supply it into 3D printing again and into hipping. So the Neath operation, just checking my notes, excuse me a moment. The Neath operation is far larger than the Sandviken one. We're about 190 people in Neath, and in Sandviken there's about 20. But I will get to the crux now, is the Neath operation is the largest manufacturer of metal powder in the world, or fine metal powder, and we export about 95% of what we manufacture. So to go back into our history, so Sandvik Osprey, or rather Osprey Metals, was originally formed by those 3 fellows that you can see in the picture there, and they were graduates from Swansea University, and they developed a process called spray forming, which is where you produce powder, but before it's solidified, you spray it onto something and you actually build up a metal shape, a billet, so to speak, and then you can machine that. And the reason that you do that is so you get a very homogeneous structure from what you've made. So Sandvik took an interest in that company in the late 70s, but were more interested in the powder that's produced rather than the metal sprayed objects, for want of a better word. And then in the mid-80s, they acquired the whole company. So Sandvik Osprey then became, Osprey Metals then became Sandvik Osprey. And by fine powder, we mean sub 20 microns. This means each metal powder particle is less than 20 microns diameter. And then we talked at the end, some various stuff. I will talk about what C alloys is in a moment, but we talk about installing larger atomizers. So we're up to 1 ton plants now. And we actually now are just in the point of building our 9th atomizer plant, which is world class in terms of manufacturing capacity. And this is all from a little factory in Neath. And it's really interesting, some of the things that we've got into over the years, because if I just move on to what we do here. So over on the left-hand side is fine metal powder, and you can see a picture of a a pile of powder there. Like I say, it doesn't look very interesting, but it is fascinating what it can do. And down to the bottom of it, you can see some pictures of things that can be made from metal powder. The top picture is a turbocharger impeller, so that's made by metal injection molding. And below that, it's a suspension component from an F1 car, obviously made for lightness, and that's made by 3D printing. And now we're getting into structures that cannot be made by machining. And over to the right-hand side is we also provide powder for metal for coatings. And incidentally, every stealth bomber or fighter that's been manufactured, the metal powder that produces the stealth coating actually comes from our factory in Neath. So it's quite an interesting thing to say. So that's metal powder, and I'll talk about the growth of that shortly, because the growth is what's driving what comes next with Sandvik Osprey. But we also have produced a product called controlled expansion alloys. That's what CE alloys is. And this is a material that was developed on site here, which has very high thermal conductivity. So it's like a metal, but it's very similar thermal expansion to silicon. So if we do that, then it means that we can attach silicon to the CE alloys material, and we can thermally manage it. We can cool it. And this goes into all sorts of applications in space, aerospace, defense, that sort of thing. So a very high value product. And again, it's almost 100% export market. And then over on the right-hand side, this is actually from the original spray forming process. We're developing a product at the moment for aluminium silicon billets for brazing. So this is primarily for heat exchangers, because it's an interesting fact that electric cars actually have more heat exchangers in them than cars with their traditional engines. So last of all, so this is where Sandvik Osprey is. So we've currently got an alloy database of about 3,500 different grades that we can make, and we currently market and sell about 2,000 of those. When you look at the list of the stuff that we make, all the stuff in white is what we make in Neath, and all the stuff in blue is what we make in Sandviken. But because of the growth of metal 3D printing, then we expect significant growth over the next few years. And we actually expect to be at 3 times our current revenue by 2027. So I won't go on to I was going to do another part of the presentation. I won't do it. If you were to look on Neath Port Talbot Council's planning website, you'll see there's actually an application gone in for a brand new facility nearby, only in Margam, so that we can move and continue to grow. Because if you know the Sandvik Osprey site in Neath on Milland Road is very, very constrained. Now we've got no more space to move in any direction. So the next thing we're going to have to do is probably move our entire operation. And I think that's it. Yeah, okay.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Wow, that's really interesting. And yeah, really interesting to hear about how relevant all this is to the kind of 3D printing sector, which is, as you say, a massive growth sector. And you guys have been making these metal powders for all this time, and now suddenly everybody needs them. So that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for being here and sharing the history of the company, Nick.
Thank you.
Really great to hear what you're up to, and good to hear about the new facility as well.
Yeah, and I've certainly I've been scribbling down the names of some of these companies presenting, because I didn't know about some of these companies and what they did, and they are services that we use now. So that's good.
That is the name of the game. Thanks for that feedback. That's really, really important and great to hear. So thank you, Nick. See you again soon. Right, we have one last speaker. I think I haven't missed anybody, although you'll have to contact me on the chat if I have missed you. Oliver from Rototherm. Are you here, Oliver, and ready to
I'm
speak?
here, yes.
Ah, there you are. Great. Thanks for your patience.
Thanks, Dawn. I think I've got a wonderful spot as last speaker. Just when everybody's absolutely tired and wants to go get a coffee or go to sleep or something for a big nap. So I've got no presentation. I'm just going to talk for the next 4 or 5 minutes. So Rototherm, I'm the MD and owner of British Rototherm. We're just based down in Margam. And we've got 2 divisions, one which manufactures precision instrumentation, where we measure stuff that does temperature, pressure, level and flow. Examples are, we measure the pressure on nuclear reactors of the submarine fleet. We're the only suppliers in the world for the UK submarine fleet. We supply products that measure the levels of the fuel inside LPG tanks and transmit that data into secure online portals to manage your inventory. We are probably manage the liquid concentration of nearly every distillery in Scotland. So the taste of your whiskey from the things like Diageo are driven through the accuracy of our sensors, all the way down to measuring the, we have the probes that catering companies use, or let's say IKEA, for measuring the temperature of their meatballs is used with our handheld thermometers. So a real variety there of different products. And we also have a medical division as well, where we're manufacturing PPE and safety products. So we are Bollé, who are one of the world's largest safety eyewear companies, with their only partner outside of the Far East. So they went and selected, wanted to select a company to work with in Europe. They looked all around Europe and UK, and they worked, decided to work with us in Neath, which is a fantastic opportunity for us, and been a great business. So we got a couple of hundred people, 2 manufacturing sites. The main one is here in Margam, and I've owned the business for about the last 10 years, together with my siblings. So I came from the corporate world, bought a business thinking it would be really easy. I probably made every single mistake you can possibly make, and had some exceptionally stressful times, and probably given exceptional stress to our people. And I would say, the change in the last 5-6 years is I learned from others who've been there, who have made the mistakes, who are doing things great, and I copied it and I applied it, and I really put our people first, and our people have changed this organization. We've grown 5 times over in probably the last 6 years, and it really is down to the quality that we produce and the people. And so I'm exceptionally passionate about how much more we can do locally. And I think there's significant opportunities. I've had a great partnership with Neath Port Talbot Council. They've supported us, providing support for areas which have turned into half a person's job into now employing 10 people on a product line. They've taken the risk and they provided support with us. We've worked with Swansea University. We've worked with government. And I do feel there is a change coming. Certainly I think the attitude from the public sector and private sector is how much more can we do locally? How can we keep the pound in this region, or certainly within Wales? And how do we help each other? The competition for me is outside Wales. How can we, we stop our dollars going to certainly like the Far East, for example, and keep it within it. It's no longer about the cost. Trying to ship a container from China, now costs, best part £12,000, where it used to cost 1,000. So the economics now makes South Wales exceptionally competitive. You've got to be innovative. You've got to come up with different things. So for me, really, it's great that Adil and Sarah and the team have put this thing together. I've learned so much today with all the different companies. How can we put those down? I've been writing names down. How do we change our way of purchasing or collaborating with the different companies on here? And there's probably another 100, 200 different companies that we don't even know about that are in the region. So for me, fab, absolutely brilliant to have this together. I want to know, what are we going to do, or how can we then make some change? And I think it's got to be, Sarah's probably had enough of me always saying to her, how does one does Neath Port Talbot change? I think you are, but also same with private sector. How do we change? I just think there's so much we can learn. Absolutely so much. And the companies on here, why can't we all be double the size in 3-4 years time, and the rest? That's what can we do to help each other achieve this? So really honoured to be part of this, and hopefully we can make some great progress over the coming months through this collaboration.
Thank you, Oliver. Really great notes to finish those presentations on, and a real endorsement for the importance of today and the opportunities that all the businesses here today can offer each other, and hopefully grow on the strength of each other's expertise. Great to hear about Rototherm, and I think you're winning on the Zoom game here with your special camera and very professional looking setup. So congratulations on that as well. Thanks for speaking. Amazing. Well, people have been commenting in the chat, and as we've heard from a number of our speakers, hopefully connections are being made already, and that it's just really useful context to hear a bit more about your neighbouring companies and businesses. Sometimes we're all so busy in our day jobs that we barely look up to see who else is doing what just on our doorsteps. In just a couple of minutes now, because I am conscious of time and we have used up every minute of our allotted slot this afternoon, but I would just like to invite anyone who would like to share at this point to put their hand up and answer the question of what you've appreciated about today. Has it been useful, or any reflections that you'd like to share just in the final few minutes before we close? Darren, I can see your hand there. Would you like to share something?
Yeah, good afternoon, Dawn, and everyone else. Yeah, I'd just like to thank you all for this opportunity. We mentioned earlier on our breakout earlier on that Neath Port Talbot area has been severely lacking in opportunities for networking for businesses, whereby you'll find guys like these here normally in the Swansea area or Bridgend, Cardiff, whereby here in Neath Port Talbot we have, as everyone's already said, an abundance of talent, brilliant people, excellent companies, and we just need to be collaborative and working more together. And I'm just so grateful that this opportunity has come along today to see everyone, say hello and start that journey. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Darren. Great to hear from you, and thank you for that validation of today's meeting. Anybody else like to share any reflections or thoughts following today's meeting? Graham.
Yeah, sorry, I think I'm off mute, and technology let me down on the hand up there, so I did it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, great, Dawn, and this is a great initiative. Just a one from me, just a personal thing from me. Hopefully we can get together in person in the future. I think that makes all the difference. I'll be honest and say I'm a bit of a Luddite, and I'm all Teams and Zoomed out these days. It'd be lovely to get with some of the people that we've just virtually met and chew the fat.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it is our intention to run a mixture of online and in-person events at different times of day to suit different participants. So that's certainly in our plan. Thank you, Graham. Adil, you did have your hand up there briefly. I'm happy to come to you if you'd like to share any reflections before we close.
It was just to make sure that we want feedback from the businesses. So make sure you come forward and truly say what you want to get out of this forum, really. And it's been great to have all this feedback. And I was just going to say that we are planning a series of follow-up sessions as well. Some will be online, and if possible, some will be face-to-face as well.
Thank you. Great. Well, I wanted to just finish with a few closing messages. I've shared in the chat the email address of my colleague Helen. Helen@fortheregion.org.uk is your key point of contact for any suggestions, comments, volunteering to speak, or suggested topics or requests for future meetings. In the immediate short term, we'll be emailing you all with the dates of the upcoming meetings. I just wanted to flag up that we're planning to reconvene same time next week. This will be on Zoom again, 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon next week, and it will be on this same Zoom link. So if it's easy for you just to slot that straight into your calendars, that would be appreciated. And do, of course, feel free to send along colleagues as well, or bring them with you, because different perspectives from within the organisation can share on different things. What we're hoping for this time next week, as well as a more interactive discussion and a bit more time to hear from everybody about your thoughts and priorities for the time upcoming. We're also hoping to have a presentation from ABP about their future ports vision for the expansion of the port. And so that will provide a good talking point. But as I say, we're really hoping to continue the discussion so that you can help us shape what this forum looks like over the coming weeks and months. I've shared the Eventbrite link to that in the chat. And then the other thing that we're going to try is to set up a LinkedIn group So we'll be emailing you all with a link to join us on LinkedIn, which will hopefully be a forum for a bit of chat for those who are into that sort of online social networking, a dedicated space for Neath Port Talbot businesses in these sectors to share links and information in between meetings. So my colleagues have their hands up for a couple of final points. So I'll come to Adil and then I'll come to Helen.
Thank you, Dawn. I've also spoken to the Global Rail Centre of Excellence, so they're going to come and do a session with us as well as ABP. But as I said, it's important for for the businesses here to also say what you want to hear as well. So this is the forum for that. So feedback to Helen, but we've got some things mapped and programmed, which hopefully you'll find interesting.
Thank you, Helen.
Yes, and also part of this whole forum experience will be a series of podcasts that I'll be running with businesses. So I will be contacting you. I've made a list of the ones that maybe we could start with. But if you'd like to be involved in a podcast, it'll be about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It'll be about your business. It'll be about how we can make changes in the region, how we can work together more collaboratively, ideas. Each one will be slightly different so that they're not all too samey, but there'll be a series of podcasts that will run audio wise and also visually as well. So watch this space. And if you do want to get involved desperately, please email me.
Thanks for flagging that. I almost forgot to mention the podcast. So thanks, Helen. Right, well, I think it's been really interesting to hear from so many local firms. I hope you guys have enjoyed and found that a useful first meeting as well. Please do keep in touch with us. We'll be emailing you all with future dates of meetings, and we'll be keeping in touch with you as this develops, and do signpost people our way if there are other people who should have been here today and weren't here. But for now, apologies for running just 9 minutes over time. We'll try and do better in future, but enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you very much for being part of today.